Hey guys, welcome to another. Would I call this a segment or just another rant of mine? Maybe I'll just rather call it a rant. But like I said in the introduction video, what I'm after is simply just bringing about distorted truths. Before we get to the point of 2024 and our present reality, I'll rather I start from, or I rather we start from the beginning. And there are so many things that are distorted that we just need to correct. And just doing some research today and trying to find out some things to talk about. This very popular video, everybody knows it.
One thing I've noticed, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it, obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or a permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is no. And if there may be 10 laborers employed only in the two regions.
This video that I just played, or that we play, everybody knows it. It's about Sir Ahmadu Bello talking about the modernization policy and the Igbos and so many other things. My concern with that video, just some 4 points I picked from the video. I'm not here to, I think the English is trivialize issue and make it unnecessarily big. I just like to address 4 points, and I think this is the beginning of so many things. And Awolowo and Azikiwe, they were also guilty of this in reading their stories, but their own kind of guilty. Well, when we get there, we'll talk about it. But 4 things I'll just like to pick from the video. I did a small jot. Is 1, monopolization, monopoly, dominant, northernization policy, and the last one after I do a little bit of breakdown on this. And yeah, this my studio, so welcome to my studio. And I get enough reaction when I sit here and just get into rant and people passing out. So it's exciting. So in this video, we hear about God rest his soul, Sir Ahmadu Bello talking about the northernization policy. And yeah, I'm all heated up today because I'm going out. I'm going for a party later. Normally I'm just going. Sir Ahmadu Bello, anyways. Sir Ahmadu Bello talking about the northernization policy was being interviewed by a BBC reporter. I didn't pick his name. And the first word he said when he was asked about the Igbos, and please take note, this video was before the Civil War. So it means the Civil War didn't bet many of these things we face now. Because we easily point to, the first coup was the one who brought about this in Nigeria and that in Nigeria. But this video is just before the Civil War. And it shows you the damage that was already being done or the programming that was already being done in our minds and the minds of people concerning one another and concerning the nation as a whole. And this is another segment we are going to cover. I think maybe we'll call that segment Why We Learn, where we read books about authors who have gone, we read books, authors who have gone to really research this thing and document it. And some of it, I think I'd like us to start with is, if I could remember, what Britain did to Nigeria, how Europe or, underdeveloped Africa, those kind of books will give us a prehistory into the independence, and we'll go into the independence and talk about every other thing. But the sad thing is, this is only part of the interview that keeps going round. But the question that he was asked about the Igbos, and he said one thing. He said the Igbos like to monopolize, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. He also said the Igbo likes to be the dominant one. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And he talked about the northernization policy, and that is where the context behind the statement comes in. When he talks about monopoly, he didn't say the Igbos like to monopolize in the sense of they come here and they subdue you. The typical example he gave in the video is the Igbos come and we are in the farm as a group of people, and before a year, the Igbo man has tried to move from being a farm boy to the headmaster or to the farm foreman and all that. Now it shows you steps, it shows you merit, it shows you progression, because the Igbo man didn't come to the farm and immediately start subduing everyone to monopolize. He went through the process of being a farm boy. Then from being a farm boy, he went through the process of being maybe a band boy. From a band boy, he kept going up till he got to the foreman and the farm master or whatever. So it shows you process. It shows you truth. It shows you willingness to grow, willingness to be uplifted, to lift up, to improve, whatever the English is. Then the other point is dominance. I'm trying to draw, just bear with me, I'm trying to draw a line so I don't jump into conclusion, because when he started the video, I didn't necessarily have a problem with the word monopolization, dominance. It's when he started giving the contextual view, the contextual explanation of the northernization policy. That's when it became more of, okay, now I get where it's coming from. Now, being dominant now in the sense of we come here and Igbos dominate everything and we are the ones in charge of everything. We like to be in charge of all. Fine and good. The question is, how do we get in charge? How do we become dominant? How do we monopolize it? Like in the business world, being dominant and monopolization, it's not a good thing per se for competition, but if a company can ever get to that place of monopolization, they strive towards it. And that's why you have different brands now. Like Allen's Peak Milk also owns 3 Crown, also used to own Milikisi. For those that were old enough, I remember seeing is it Milikisa or Milkisa? I can't remember. But strategies like that, and they did it to be able to dominate the market Cowbell was pulling from them. So now that's fair. Not entirely fair, but that's fair. That's them putting in the work. They didn't just come and shut down Cowbell and monopolizing and dominating everywhere. Story for another day. That's business stuff. But when Sir Ahmadu, God rest his soul, got to the point of explaining the northernization policy, it shows it was not just an Igbo thing, but more of another thing. Because he said the northernization policy is simply northerners first. And when he was poked more, and he said, instead of, if a northerner is not at that level to operate or to handle a certain segment of faction or function, rather, they will rather go for an expatriate, like the foreigner. Then if an expatriate is not available, they will rather go for someone else in Nigeria, and it will be on contract as expatriates. Now, this brings the whole contextual meaning behind this was monopolizer domination. It shows it was not necessarily about being out monopolized or out dominated, but more about tribalism tricking in. And this is a problem we face today. Because the policy is simple, Northerners first. The policy is that simple, Northerners first. This is about tribalism kicking in. And that's what we still see today in government, in different societies. It's more like when you get in there, you must bring in your own person. You must bring in only your own person. And down to, say, if there are opportunities for 100 people, you make sure like 90 people are your own people, which has brought about, what's the English? We use it so much during the Buhari regime, nepotism, I think, and all that. So it takes away merit. And merit should be a core function of a society, not favor. Favor is good, when you look at it in the spiritual context. Merit should be a core function of society. And Sir Ahmadu Bello, far back before the Civil War, already pushing forth kind of tribalism agenda. It shows you our problem didn't start after the Civil War. I'm trying to draw a line because not just in this video, but in other videos we'll be reacting to. This is a line I'm trying to draw. Because this tribalism thing, it has eaten deep into our society, into our subconscious, that in trying to do something, tribalism can be favorable. But the one we practice is not favorable at all because we are diverse. The Jews now, from many things I've learned about the Jews, I've forgotten the term that was used, but they keep their money within themselves. Now that's tribalism. In a community, and a Jewish man wants to build a house, he looks for the Jewish man that owns a Jewish company, a construction company. He looks for the Jewish man that sells the wood, the nails. So with that, they first keep the money within themselves, and it goes round and round and round to you. Before the money exits the Jewish community, it has gone round about maybe 8-10 times. Now that's tribalism, but in a smart way. Now the tribalism we practice is not in any way smart, it's not in any way encouraging. So it shows one of the many cases, one of the many things we are dealing with now. Because if we don't get this fixed, the economy will still be in shambles. Because if I become president today and I carry the core mindset of being a tribalistic, and the Hausa man is coming to me and saying, I have the best economists to run the finance ministry, I have the best economists to run the CBN, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, you're not my brother, you're not from my tribe. You see the economy is being affected. It trickles down. Tribalism is not something that just ends in the parlor. It's not something that ends in our discussion. It's not something that ends in the village square. It trickles down. Because becoming the president and I'm being offered the best brains from the Efik region, from the Tiv tribe, from the Ibibio, from Yoruba, from Hausa, from Fulani, and instead I'm thinking about my own tribe, then that's a problem. That's the problem that starts. And I'm bringing my own tribe, and my own tribe starts doing rubbish, but I stick my neck out for him because it's my tribe. So these are the core issues we need to address. These are the core truths we need to face. And when you look at it now, the modernization policy now has bettered this thing that is so ingrained in us. I'm sure it's not the only one who started this, but when you look at the fight between Azikiwe and Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you see it's the same thing. You see it's the same tribal thing. They were all fighting for and they were all standing for. So the modernization policy, it wasn't just about the Igbos, but about every other Nigerian and the North being in charge. Now what he was accusing the Igbos of, or every other Nigerian, by his statement of Northerners first, about monopoly, about dominance, is what we're facing today, and we're facing it from the North. And let me be clear, the North is different. There's a middle belt called the North Central, and they've clearly said they are middle belt. And I think this was one of the, if you follow the traces, the track, the lines of the Civil War before it started, it was one of the emancipation the middle belt was looking for that also led to it. And I think the Dimka coup was also part of some of all these things. We'll get to it. I don't want to speculate. When coming in, that's why I said we'll be doing the segment called Why We Learn. And that segment will be about bringing out facts, bringing out stories from people that participated so we could talk about it. So, this now, every other Nigerian, not just the Igbos, by the North, by Sir Ahmadu Bello, have been accused of monopolization, dominance. Now let's look at our sectors today. our civil society, our civil service rather, who is more dominant? I do not have the facts, the data, but we all know the data. Sorry guys, I lost my thought process, and the guy helping me with the camera was doing balls. I say rubbish, but I'm trying to do 18, not 18 rated content. What they call it, 12 rated maybe. That was in balls. Balls means rubbish. So wherever I stopped, and I'm telling you this thing, so this thing is as simple as I want it to be. I do not have. I told you I don't have the aesthetics of the accent of the English of journalism or whatever academics require to do such a thing. I'm just coming from a place of pain as a nation that we've not solved so many issues, and these issues are underlining because we come out and we say, oh my brother, oh my sister. But when we're in our parlors, the things we say about the other tribes, the things we say about the person we just called our brother, it began, let me use the word Bible like this, it began from far back. It began from way back. It began during the colonial period. And the Brits kind of institutionalized these things, and it became a norm. And these are the things I'm trying to talk about. So talking about this modernization policy, it shows the North of Sir Ahmadu Bello at that time was just after bringing up the North. And it was a good desire. But he did it from a place of forgetting it wasn't just about region, though we were kind of practicing a regional government then, but more about the nation. He only looked at it from a lens of the North, not from a lens of what could tomorrow tell when it comes to our diverse strengths and our unique blah 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 that we always sell. So the northernization policy was a northerner first, then the foreigner, then you consider a Nigerian, be it Igbo, Yoruba, Efik, Ibibo, Tiv, Ijo, and all that. And this bettered, it's one of the things that has bettered this institutionalized tribalism we practice. Like I was saying, I'm the president today. A Yoruba person comes to me and tells me I have the best economic guy in the world, and I'm seeing the track record and everybody's recommending him. Then my own tribe person comes that has no track record at all, and I'm saying I'll stick with this guy. It trickles down to the economy because the guy comes in and is doing many rubbish. And due to my pride and me being a tribalistic, in quotes, I'm not saying I'm a tribalistic, don't, because I know this video now you can cut off that side and next thing is springing up that I'm saying I'm a tribalistic. In quotes, we stick out for him. And at the end of the day, the economy is in shambles. You're not happy. I'm not happy. Okay, I'm happy. I'm the president. I'm being taken care of. He's not happy. They are not happy. And at the end, the whole tribe takes the blame, and the wound deepens. The division deepens. It gets tiring talking of these things, but it's something we need to talk. It's been underlining for over 60 years. It's been underlining, and we come out, we hold hands, happy independence. We come out and we do. I find it stupid now. I'm sorry. I'm not saying the culture, but the thought of the message passing. When I watch Independence 30, 40 or whatever years ago, they were all coming out to dance and doing the flag. I'm watching Independence today when people are thinking of going to mass and was dancing. I'm not saying take away the dance. But after the dance, what have we achieved? What have we done? And it's only that time we come and we shine it and say, oh, we are united. Oh, one Nigeria. Then we go back home and we say that Igbo man said, that Hausa man, that Yoruba man, that Fulani man. So my question, just before I round this up, who is really the dominant guys? The civil service, who is more dominant? The oil industry, who is more dominant? And the sad thing mostly about the oil industry that has been feeding Nigeria, that even took us to war. When we get to that segment, I do not believe a civil war happened. I believe an oil war. Excuse me. An oil war. It wasn't a civil war, it was an oil war. They coined to the term civil war. We'll get there and we'll talk about all these things. Now we've gotten to that place. The people who own the oils, how many of them own the oil well? We know the oil well was shared among a very few. Who are those few? The names are in record. The names are there. We've been saying the names for forever. I won't be the one to mention names now. But if need be, I will call the names. Other region came into the oil party late, in the sense of, or other tribe rather, in the sense of when they came in, things were more now kind of institutionalized, and we're now saying we're under democracy, and we're trying to do things right, going through the process of bureaucracy to purchase the oil block and all that. Favor was still happening, nepotism and all was still happening, but it was not like the one where it was just being shared among pals, among folks. Who dominates the oil industry? I don't want to call a tribe. Who dominates the oil block owning? We know it. In the oil industry, I've heard so many times that meetings are often done in another language. Some people even say, is it aero contractors pick up some staffs every morning from Lagos and go to the south and bring them back in the evening? Are you seeing that kind of living? Like, that's pure, this girl, Davido's sister, Nico's living. That's pure Nico's living. Wake up, your flight is booked, you move, the flight is waiting for you, you come back. That's pure Nico's living. Now, the community who owns the oil, they are also corporates. Because many times the kind of development has come to them, they kind of, let me not get into that, I don't stereotype. But we all know, I've lost my thought, but the main thing is, tribalism has eaten deep, and it didn't start after the Civil War. It started before the Civil War, and if we don't address it, it's something we hide behind and say, oh, we are happy. We're happy as a nation, we're happy as a people. But the truth is, are we really happy? Do you really trust that you can call that guy from the east and the guy is really your guy? You can call the guy from the west, from the north, and the guy is really your guy? Trust him with your contract, trust him with your business, trust him with your life, trusting that when things are on the line, he's going to save you without thinking about his strikers, but more about you being a Nigerian. Ojukwu has the saying. Ojukwu said, I'm first an Igbo man before a Nigerian. It's true. Ribadu also said something better. Ribadu said, I am first a Nigerian. I think, I'm first a Nigerian before being a northerner. I kind of prefer that saying. I know we come from different backgrounds and different stories and different cultures. But if we hold on, I'm not saying throw away our cultures, but when it comes to the collective progress, we need to look at it in a forward way, in a forward-thinking manner of being a Nigerian. Because when you look at the fights going on, the diplomatic fights, the ones we don't see, is the Nigerian thing they're fighting, and not the Igbo thing, not the Yoruba thing, not the Hausa thing, not the Ijaw thing. It's the Nigerian idea they're fighting. So I think I'll be more of a student of Ribadu in this statement, not necessarily in his life per se. And I even look forward to talking to Ribadu one of these days. Malam Nuhu Ribadu. In the statement, Nigerian first before being a northerner. I think if you can truly live by that statement, being a Nigerian first, then we'll go past so many of all these things. The essence of talking about these things, about opening this old one, I know some people won't be happy, oh, you're talking about Sir Ahmadu Bello. I know he's a very reverend figure. He has the longest street in Abuja, if not in West Africa, the longest street. It starts all the way from that Warimpa axis all the way to Gudu, and it's not even completed. The Gudu still goes down. No. So imagine being able to say, okay, it was correct, but it wasn't correct in the contextual view of Nigeria being an entity. It was correct in the contextual view of fighting for its northern people. But now we're not just a northern people. We're not just an eastern people. We're not just a western people or a south people. We are Nigerian. Can we as a people rise over this sentiment of being Yoruba first, being Igbo first, being Ijaw first? and more of being a Nigerian first. Then when it comes to our individualistic in terms of as a mini group, we can now say, okay, let's do it this way, 50-50. Because those sentiments will still be there. It can't be eroded. When it comes to the Nigeria context, let it always be Nigerian first. So these are some of the things I just said, let me pour out my heart on. It's bothering. What are the preferable solutions? Because I do not just want to rant. But what do you guys think are the preferable solutions? I think teaching is important. A re-education is important. And I say teaching, when people say our education is poor, they mainly just refer to us not inventing, the space rocket engine and all that. It's not necessarily that. Our education being poor is that we have disconnected so much from the truth or shy away from addressing the truth that we live in a lie. So why don't we teach it? Why don't we teach our truth to discuss it? Maybe from this we could start having a debate. What do you guys think? Maybe under the segment of let's create a segment of why we learn, and it could be we learn that we may know, that we may argue, that we may know, that we may understand, that we may argue accordingly. And in that debate now, we can talk about these issues. Because I would like to hear a northerner, probably a northerner that is maybe still alive, that experienced the birth of this modernization policy, and can he attest to the fact on the long run it has favored Nigeria as a whole? Did it favor the North? Maybe. The North is dominant in everywhere. The same thing, the North was accusing other tribes, or mostly the Igbos, of being. The North is dominant in the civil space, in the security architecture. The North is dominant in the oil space, the oil wells, who owns it the most. All these questions are hanging there, and we know all these things, but we just let be and one Nigeria. But I'm tired of those lies. I'm tired of those lies. And I just want to bring out this truth. Let's discuss it, and inshallah we form a new opinion or a new understanding of, yes, we made a mistake. We made a mistake in trying to not see the bigger picture of Nigeria being a thing. And we now forge a new path to becoming a Nigerian, to becoming an entity. That when we stand as Nigerians. And when we fall, they say united we stand, divided we fall. But when we fall, even if we fall divided, can we not fall so far apart? Can we fall still being brothers, still being sisters, still being fathers, still looking out for each other? Then I think we can forge a new path. A new path that is less detribalized. Tribalism cannot be eradicated. Like corruption cannot be eradicated. But a new path that is more 80% Nigeria. Trying to be realistic. 20% sentiments, tribalism and all that. So I look forward to your comments. I look forward to your reaction. Let's talk more on this. Let's debate on this. I look forward to it. This is the Nation's Pulse, and I'll be doing more videos of this, and I look forward to just interacting with you guys and saying the truth. That's the fun thing about doing things in the open. Some people recognize, man, it's just funny. See you guys next time. See you guys later. Cheers.